Do you have any expectations that the outlook is going to improve?
You mean for Hong Kong or for mainland China? For Hong Kong, I think the real estate market, in residential terms, it should be okay. Commercial is going to be tough. We're not in the residential area. Commercial rental is going to be difficult. Mainland China is very bifurcated. If you're in the luxury end like we are, then you're doing very, very well. If you're in the mass, then they're improving, but they are not yet recovered to the last year, to the 2019 level. But I believe that this year it should do better.
So your flagship Plaza 66 in Shanghai, for example, did really extremely well given the circumstances. What's the impact then of things like restricted travel over Lunar New Year, potentially further developments and clusters when it comes to COVID-19? Are you banking on that better performance to continue and the rental performance to continue over the next year?
Well, first of all, the good result is not just in Plaza 66. It's in any of the luxury shopping centers that we have. And we have right now 5 of them, one more on the way, well, 2 more on the way. So the luxury type and the non-luxury type or sub-luxury type, there's a big difference in performance. Shanghai is doing very well, but so is Wuxi Center 66, so is Kunming, Spring City 66, and so forth. I think the luxury market is going to continue to do better, to do very, very well in the coming year.
When it comes to China or Hong Kong, what are you seeing in terms of some structural changes given the COVID pandemic? Are you expecting people to go back to offices, or the work from home trend will continue?
Well, the work from home trend will continue, but that said, I don't think that all offices are going to be replaced. I think there's no way. After all, who was that? Aristotle or somebody said, we're all human creatures, and the productivity of face-to-face meeting is still very, very important. So I think that offices will be hurt, but it will not be replaced. I think the mainland Chinese office market is a little weak, mainly because there's just so much oversupply. We're able to keep up our occupancy, but rent is a little soft. But in the retail area, it really depends on whether you're in the mass lifestyle type or in the luxury type. If you're in the top end brands, in the last 1 year, many of them double or even 3 times the sales from the year before, and as a result, our rent has also gone up very well.
And yet you also talked about some of the challenges in Hong Kong, right? And we're seeing also challenges when it comes to perhaps some of your acquisitions. Can you give us an update on what's happening to that U.S. consulate staff quarters at Chosun Hill?
Well, we had a joint declaration between Hang Lung Group and Hang Lung Properties on December 30th. There's nothing more to add. We're waiting for the seller to go through all the diplomatic protocol that is necessary, and we'll proceed with the deal. I think it's a very good deal for everybody. As far as Hong Kong is concerned, I think it's not so much a COVID. The COVID hurts everybody in the world. It's really the social unrest the year before that really stopped all the mainland Chinese, scared the heck out of the mainland tourists. And they have now not that good of a feeling about Hong Kong, so a lot of them are not coming. And as a result, our consumer spending is really down. I suspect that maybe 20 to 25% of total private consumption is down because of the shortage of incoming tourists from mainland China, and then COVID, of course, then shut it all up.
Hang Lung won the tender for the U.S. consulate staffing quarters, but that transaction wasn't completed by the end of December as was originally scheduled. Can you give us an update? And also, does this play into your willingness to acquire more land in Hong Kong, given some of these political uncertainties at play?
No, not at all. We'll continue. As long as it is in the luxury residential sector, Hang Lung is really quite happy to buy more. The rest of the sectors, I'm not sure, but for the last many years, Hang Lung has been targeting only this one sector of luxury housing in Hong Kong, which I think in the coming decade, it should still do well. We have low tax, we have a very free society. A lot of people still like to live here. A lot of money are here. The international financial center position of Hong Kong, I believe, will be maintained. And so as a result, I think that sector is going to be good. But the rest, I'm not so sure.
Do you think the introduction or the more widespread rollout of a vaccine will improve the rental side of the business?
Well, I think it's a very good thing that a vaccine should come out so fast. I think it's a triumph of mankind in a sense. Within a year, usually it takes 10, 20 years for those vaccines to come out. So I think it's very good. We'll wait, we'll watch. In general terms, I believe it should be good for the world and hence good for Hong Kong as well. But the problem is still a lot of people don't like to be vaccinated. They talk about the negatives of it. Well, even flu shots, there's always a negative of it. I think that once people get to know better the facts, hopefully the more people will be willing to be vaccinated.
Give us some more examples of the projects that you have high hopes for in 2021, whether in Hong Kong or in China.
Well, we don't have too many projects in Hong Kong, but in the mainland of China, all our luxury type shopping centers will do fantastic. In the second half of last year, if you grow by 60-some%, you're at the bottom of the pile as far as our luxury property are concerned. If you are in the so-called lifestyle sub-luxury segment, then you are growing at 40 to 60-some% in the second half of last year. And the best performing ones are well over 100% increase in the second half of last year. I believe that that trend will continue. So I think the 6 properties that we have that are in the luxury sector will all perform well wherever they happen to be in the mainland of China. In the old days, the investors say you have Shanghai versus outside of Shanghai. That's no longer the case. It is really luxury wherever it may be versus sub-luxury. The sub-luxury will also improve, but they are just not as vibrant as a market that is like Plaza 66, Grand Gateway 66, and so forth.